Welcome to Fundraising is Funny. I'm Lynn Wester.
And I'm Clay Buck.
Join us to share in laughter and stories as we take a lighthearted look at the profession that we love so much, fundraising.
Because sometimes we just have to laugh at ourselves.
Laughter through tears is my favorite emotion. Take a moment, take a listen. Hey, this could even be called self-care.
Bring your favorite beverage and a yummy snack.
In reality, we're here to deliver on our promise. We're going to make you laugh or cringe. And if you learn something too, bonus.
See, we're serious fundraisers. We believe in this work, but we also know we do some really ridiculous things all in the name of raising a dollar. Maybe if we laugh at and with them and at ourselves, we can bring a little joy to everybody in our sector.
Now, don't worry. In that pursuit of joy, we won't name names, but the stories we share are 100% real life in the world of nonprofit fundraising.
Because, come on, fundraising is funny.
Hey, Clay.
Hey, Lynn.
I don't know why, but I have the giggles every time I say, hey, Clay.
It wouldn't be us if we didn't have the giggles when we started.
Well, welcome everybody to the podcast.
Hello.
Yeah.
Look how close we are.
Oh, it's like two peas.
This is how close we want to be with you.
In an appropriate manner, according to your HR department's advisory. Speaking of HR departments, I had somebody contact
you have a story,
me.
Don't you?
I do. I have
You're
a story.
about to tell me a story that involves HR.
Well, sort of.
Is it going to get us sent to HR?
No, because I don't own an HR department.
I was just going to say, we both work independently.
Yeah.
Like I am my HR department.
Yeah, that's scary. So somebody contacted me. And they were frustrated at their current leadership, their leader, because they had given them a project and said, here, now I trust you. Go ahead, take the project, do it, and just come to me with the results.
Great.
Sounds pretty normal,
Love
right?
It.
So she went away and she toiled for a good month.
Toiled.
Well, I'm here for vocabulary reasons as well. Somebody's got to level the Fleisch-Kincaid score.
Strategic vocabulary reasons.
Somebody's got to level the Fleisch-Kincaid score up some.
Yes, there we go.
Yes. So she goes away. She toils over this project. She gets completion. She brings it to the chief advancement officer and says, I built you a house. And she shows her the project results.
And I feel like this is not going to end well. Oh, dear.
And the chief advancement officer was like, well, that's not the house I wanted you to build me. It's not even in the right zip code. And I'm like, okay. And so she's telling me of her frustration and her toilage, right? Her extreme effort and everything. And she's like, well, they wanted me to do it independently and I didn't want to bother them with questions.
Oh, boy.
Famous last words, right?
All right.
And so now the boss doesn't like what I've delivered. And I'm kind of at a loss for what to do. And I'm like, so your boss asked you to build them a house or buy them a house. And you didn't ask 2-story, 3-story, elevator, suburban, rural,
Were there any blueprints provided, an architectural plan, zoning?
And you know what? I'm an ideator. So that's one of my top 5 strengths. And I sometimes have challenges with telling people how I want them to do the work. I'm not so explicit sometimes. I just expect people to read my mind and do it. But the grand failure that comes out of this is, number one, that now the senior leadership is frustrated.
Right.
Number 2, the employee is frustrated. The team member is frustrated because they bought a house in a neighborhood and they're thinking of resale value. And they're like, okay, but it has 3 bathrooms on the first level and only 1 bedroom and 3 bedrooms on the second level and only 1 bathroom.
And why is there a stable?
Well, we work in fundraising. Sometimes you need a horse. I've seen
a horse of a different color.
Right. I've seen weirder things at fundraising. But all this to say, I want us to think about, and maybe we can unpack the funniness of this, but also be thoughtful around how do we tell people to collaborate? Everybody says, well, I want a team player. I want a collaborative environment. It's the reason I don't have an MBA is because of teamwork, because I'm not doing other people's homework and then having them get an A. I've had that happen in my lifetime. It was called high school.
I think that's a whole other story.
That's a different episode for a different therapist. Probably.
Yeah.
Control freak.
We don't record those sessions.
No.
Anyway.
No, that'd be a different.
No. It's not that I'm a control freak. It's just, can I show you the right way to do that?
Yes, it's not. I'm not trying to control it, but there is one way. And so, but that's really relative to this point, Clay, right?
Yes.
So we have a team member. They're out there trying to do good work, toiling away. The leader has said, here's the assignment, and then doesn't like the end result of the assignment. So it would, I liken it to you, Clay, go buy me a house. Here's $500,000. Go buy me a house. Yeah. And you go buy me a house. And I'm like, well, this is a horrible house. Why'd you pick this house? And you're like,
$500,000. Do you know what year it is and what interest rates are? Like, come on.
I just wanted a house. Yeah. Okay. So I gave you $20 million and said I'd like a house. Right. But I guess what we're not doing is feeling comfortable asking the questions. It's hard to ask questions of our senior leadership. But also our senior leadership, people like me too, sometimes our ideators are saying, I want the answer to be 4. I don't care how you get there. But then we actually do care how you get there.
Listen, we're joking and I'm joking a lot, but this is also shameless plug. Shameless. I love it. This is quite honestly, this is also a lesson that I had to learn as I grew in responsibility, as I grew in leadership roles, that I am also you and I talk about this actually, right? You like a schedule. I like a framework. I like okay, it's this day. We're going to do this. And I'm good because I understand that thing is going to happen. It could happen at this time or that time. And I'm okay with it. That's how I work.
Lovely.
It took me a long time to understand when I say, build me a house, that there are people that need the specific instruction. That's on me. That's on me to learn that other people need that.
But what about leading up, though?
And
isn't it?
Also, having been in that position and worked for people like me, no.
Don't work for me or Clay.
No.
Work with us.
Like me working for someone just like me, nightmare. It was awful.
Yeah.
I could tell stories. But anyway, right?
It's what we do. We tell stories on fundraising. Imagine if we did that for a living.
But there is the other side of it.
Yeah.
Okay, I need some direction. Tell me what kind of house, how many bedrooms, what location, right?
Do you even want a bedroom?
Do you even want a bedroom? Right.
Like, I noticed that here in Vegas and they're all about not sleeping lots of people, but they have lots of entertaining space in their hotel suites, but they'll only sleep 2 people, which really I think means 8, but that's a whole nother different episode for a different day as well, dear. Because how many people can sleep in a bathtub basically is what we're talking about. Don't ask that
question in Las Vegas.
Well, no.
Do not.
No. And why does it fill from the ceiling? It's a whole other issue. Like, wow.
Anyway.
This is why we don't have HR departments. But really, this also boils down to communication. Whose responsibility is it for the communication? And how do we work in hierarchical organizations? Because let's be frank, some nonprofits have frameworks for their hierarchy. And other nonprofits, like I work in universities and hospitals a lot, they don't have frameworks. They have scaffolding, blueprints. They have stairs. Hierarchy there. Like there are title levels mean literally who has certain rights and privileges. And then there are other offices. And so sometimes it's hard to navigate.
That level of detail, specificity, bureaucracy, responsibility creates a whole other layer of confusion and issues and not my job. That's the other side of this coin, right?
Right. So how do we as human beings navigate the whose job is it to make requests clear so that we can avoid these disappointments? Like, was it up to her 2 weeks in to be like, oh, hi, just wanted to check with you that I'm on the right path. And then the leader says, why are you bothering me with this? I'm busy.
I have a thought on this. I have my response to this.
What is your thought? That we should have a snack?
Well, yeah, and I'll give you a hint as to what my response might be, because I'm thinking for our snack, yogurt might be a good option. That's a little clue as to what I might be talking about.
It's very cloudy and sometimes bitter. You have to put a lot of things in it to make me want to eat it. No, but it's very good for you.
No, it's Greek and it can be used for anything. It's sour cream now. Like, have the confidence of Greek yogurt. You can be anything you want to be.
That and cottage cheese these days.
And cauliflower.
Oh, right.
Have the confidence of cauliflower.
Because
if cauliflower can be a pizza crust, you can be anything you want to be.
But I don't want to be a pizza crust. I just don't want to. So we're going to take a break and have a snack.
Snack break.
Oh my God.
And then we're going to come back and
the snack may or may not be yogurt. And you're going to tell me how this compares to yogurt. How yogurt
applies to this, building a house.
Are you glad you joined us, folks? You're going to take Greek yogurt and you're going to spackle with it. And when we come back from our break, you'll know exactly how spackle. You don't spackle?
With yogurt?
Well, I mean, it does everything else. It whitens, it brightens.
We're going to snack break now.
Yes.
And we're back.
How's your yogurt spackle going?
I don't know that I'm ever going to get past yogurt spackle.
I will tell you that I can still see through the hole on the wall I put in there. So,
so what we were talking about was leading up, asking questions, leadership, giving clear direction on projects. You want me to do a project.
Right. And then you tell me to build a house and I'm over there, or buy you a house and I'm in the wrong neighborhood, honey.
And I said, I have an opinion or thought about this and it might have to do with yogurt. So what's the word that I'm leaning towards?
Yogurt. Is yogurt an acronym for something?
Nope.
It's cloudy and milky.
Nope. Culture.
I did not go.
For some of us, I don't know about you, but for some of us, yogurt is the only culture we get. But anyway.
Sorry, but like 50 other people are screaming at us right now going, of course it was culture. And Lynn's over there going, a lot of protein and the nutritionists really like it. And
really?
You can put something. Wow.
I do think that
culture.
This kind of scenario has a lot. It has a lot to do with personalities, but the culture has to be there. And it has to come for personalities to be who they need to be. There has to be a culture of leadership and transparency and understanding that direction needs to be given. And there has to be a culture of being able to ask questions,
safety,
and question authority and safety. And for me, culture comes from values. And I don't mean values that live on a statement that are pretty, that go on a branded guideline and then get posted out and live on their website and blah, blah, blah. I mean the real values that you live every day.
Could one of my cultural values as a leader, though, be the expectation from my team or my staff that they do independent problem solving?
Absolutely.
Because that's lacking a lot some days.
Of course it is. And trust. And where's the culture of failure?
Oh, I like failure. I'm really good at it.
No, but seriously, the culture of failure.
That's me trying to eat Greek yogurt without honey or something in it. That's a culture of failure is what that is.
It's me trying to think that Greek yogurt is actually sour cream on a taco, but whatever.
No, it's not the same.
It's not.
It's not.
I don't care what you say.
Not even creme fraiche.
No.
You know, and for those of you, or crema.
I love crema. That's a whole other
Let's
story.
have Mexican soon. Anywho, the whole idea here is you're saying it's culture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Allow me to fail. Allow me to come back with the house and go, ooh, that was not the house I wanted. You know what? Let me give you some more guidelines. And you know what? It's okay.
You bought me a home with a pool, though.
Okay.
Well, we're in Minnesota.
Well,
what are your aspirations for that pool in Minnesota?
Okay, you're laying out a metaphor, and it's good, and I get it, because there also is some common sense, right?
Oh, but not so common, my dear.
Common sense is not in common practice.
Oh dear, but see, that common sense leading to second level thinking.
There we go.
I think is probably what the leader was expecting and may not have gotten delivered on. Now, the other thing is the format in which you deliver, which we'll talk about in another episode, another day, like how people want to be communicated with, how they want to be shown things. But am I not to, again, assume, that if I'm hiring someone, I can expect some second level thought combined with some common sense? Or do I need to actually say, Clay, dear, I want you to Use your common sense.
Can I tell you a story in response to this?
Oh, I love a story. Tell me.
And I have told you this story many, many times, but I'm sharing it publicly. I had a colleague many, many years ago, a decade ago, who was responsible for scheduling things for me and my team. It took me a while to understand she did not know about time zones.
Oh, bless her.
Bless her heart.
World is flat kind of time
she
zones?
She did not know about time zones.
Like was unaware that they...
Completely unaware that they existed. Now, how this person got through the level of education and experience that they had, and I had some very ungracious moments where I was really angry that there wasn't common sense. Like, how do you not know this? Okay. But understanding that they did not know about time zones, we stopped, we took the time, we explained them.
You took time to learn about time.
We took time, we explained them, we gave resources, we trained.
Did you do like the third grade clock with the hands on it?
We actually put a map on their desk with
the time zones.
The United States, with the time zones, with the difference, and a little chart that said East Coast is 3 hours difference, etc. Oh, and then daylight savings time happened, and that was whole. So there was a whole lot of frustration at what I thought was common sense. Sometimes we have to take stock. We have to take stock of the people, their training, their background, and understand that for whatever reason, the pool in Minnesota just didn't click. So
doesn't everybody want a pool?
It might have been a heated pool.
Oh, and like, what if that person had grown up and they always wanted a house with a pool, and they were going to buy their boss the best house they could, and the best house always includes a pool.
Right. Exactly. Again, we're using house as a metaphor here. Or, there are plenty of people in Minnesota that have pools that can swim in July and August for a couple of minutes.
Prince.
I think.
I'm sure Prince had a pool.
We're not knocking Minnesota.
Paisley
I love
Park.
colleagues in Minnesota. It's just very cold, and I live in the desert.
I was just giving a place to compare.
Exactly. Right. So, okay. So I go back to culture. Culture, taking the time. Okay. So common sense might not be in common practice. When we discover that as a leader, it is our responsibility to take the time and go, okay, you know what? Here's why this didn't work.
Okay. And what's my responsibility as the person who was given the assignment? Because I'm a big believer in personal accountability as well.
How do you balance that line between it's okay to ask questions and get clarification and creating that culture of exchange and gaining information versus that person that literally can't take action without asking some question?
The paralyzed. And I probably shouldn't use that word as a... No, I'm sorry to those of you who have experienced paralysis or know someone who has, but those who are unable to act without the minutia of next steps written down. Those that are unable to make decisions on their own out of fear, out of worry. Here's the interesting thing about all of this. Everyone's opinions are valid in these places. However, the yin yang, the give take in the workplace, in the workplaces that I have had experience in, is the give and take is more on the assignee and less on the leader. Now, I think that depends on whether you're a leader or a manager.
Oh, boy.
Are you actively leading?
Wowzers.
Right? Because then I'm educating, I'm teaching you, but I can't expect something out of you I didn't know that you didn't have. However, are there a basic set of tools that you're coming to the workplace with that I'm like, I expect you to know that there are time zones. For example, that would have been I've had the privilege of traveling my whole life. And so that one would have gotten me a moment or 12 of deep breaths. I think either way, the reason I told this story, Clay, is because oftentimes in our work, we have a concept of something we want to achieve, something we want to accomplish, whether we're the leader. And so the reason I tell the story is there's frustration on all sides that can be avoided and be prevented. I have to work very hard to translate what I'm thinking in my head to the people that are going to collaborate with me and do it. And I do want more than a framework. I do want a plan. I want a document. I want timelines. I want more meat on the bones, because the meat on the bones is on my head. I want someone to take it out of my head, and put it down. I have a colleague who I love because he will take what's in my head and put it into a meeting agenda. And I'm like, well, yes, that. And he goes, you don't understand how hard that is, right? And at the same time, we have people who are not, they don't have the skill set to do that yet. We have we have expectations of that.
We cannot fault them though for that lack of ability.
We cannot, unless we've hired them for that ability. Unless it's a core competency of their role.
Well, so then I go to, clear expectations, roles and expectations.
Okay.
In early childhood development, there is a process in a system called rules and consequences. Truth and logical consequences. Sorry, I misnamed it.
Truth and logical consequences. So if I touch a stove, I might get burnt.
In a classroom setting, as a group, classrooms form. What are our rules as a group? What do we agree to? And
I was really bad at that as a kid.
Right. And then they write them down and go, okay, this is what we all agreed to, right? We're going to be quiet when the teacher is talking. We're going to raise our hand. We didn't have
that growing up.
Oh, no, we didn't either.
I just was disruptive.
But the point is, are the expectations clear and are the consequences clear?
No.
And this is what because
we don't onboard people well.
We don't, and we don't lay out expectations, and we don't lay out, and we expect that somebody's going to come in and learn time zones. But what's the old saying? Mark Twain? I think it's Mark Twain. It might not be Mark Twain. Not important. If you hold a goldfish responsible for its ability to climb a tree for its whole life, it will consider itself a failure.
Well, I mean, hello, president's physical fitness test in my life, right? So, absolutely.
So, Lynn, what's punchline here?
So to me, the punchline is clear, communicating clearly is kind.
Communicating clearly is kind. We're going to need stickers and a button.
We're going to need stickers, a button, and
swag.
I was going to say perhaps a t-shirt. I think the other thing is that don't be afraid.
Correct.
To answer these questions, to ask these questions and ask for answers. And I think we should set expectations. So when do you want me to check in with you about this?
Here we go.
What in your mind, what does a plan look like? Because in Clay's mind, what a plan looks like, and in my mind, what a plan looks like are two different things. But now we've both come together to come up with our way of working together in a plan that is both constructive and collaborative.
Because we honestly had the difficult discussion of addressing it.
Oh, and you guys should have been there for that. Should have had popcorn, some jerky. It was a thing for a moment.
We're stronger because of it.
Oh my God. I can lift 5-pound weights now.
And I would maintain, and my punchline is that teams and culture will be stronger.
Yeah.
With open communication and taking the time to, be irritated because they're asking 100 questions, address it, deal with it.
But also be grace-filled.
And be grace-filled.
Is this something that they came in knowing, or is this something that you've had the privilege of knowing that they didn't? Right. So that's the other thing, right?
Exactly.
I mean, although time zones are really not that until we get into the daylight savings.
Don't get me started between Nevada and Arizona. I can't.
Here's what I hope for all of you while Clay is canting. Which is
a cantor.
Right. He's a cantor, which is a whole different discussion for a different day. As you're toiling, as you're, working on your projects, make sure you have clarity about the outcomes and the expectations and what success will look like before I start every client project. I ask the person who hired me, what will success look like?
And while you're doing that and you're toiling and you get a few minutes where you go, I need a little break, hop on over to fundraisingisfunny.com.
Leave us a message.
And drop us your story of when clear, kind communications worked great for you.
Or when you went into a desert and bought a house with a basement. And how'd that work for you? Did you have a pool in Minnesota? Because I know. Well, you do in Oklahoma because you got to hide from the tornadoes. So all this to say, we're so grateful for each and every one of you for joining us.
Thank you.
We hope to see you on a future episode. And thanks again for listening. Have a great day.
We'll see you soon.